Tim with Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio, and welcome back to another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Alright, we're on a Maytag gas stove that is not heating correctly, so we're going to check out the igniter and the burner tube. And this is a really nice model in that you can just take the door right off and have all kind of room to work. There's also none of those pesky screws in the back. You just push back these little retaining clips and lift this guy up. Get that out of the way. The tools you'll need for this repair are a flashlight, some penetrating oil, a 5/16 wrench or nut driver, and a pair of wire strippers. So we're going to set this thing to 350 and get it started. We did already look at the burner tube to make sure that all of the holes are clear and haven't been burnt or rusted through, and everything all looks good. There's 3 climber ports on the bottom that can also get damaged just over use. So now we can see that our igniter is glowing. As far as igniters go, the color does tell something about it. This one has a weak glow, and it's not that the igniter is actually glowing that means it's going to work. It's that all that means is that it's getting the right power, and the igniter needs to pull a certain amount of current to open the safety valve. So it may actually light up once or twice, but with the color of it, it's basically called a weak igniter, and it will work sometimes because it's not completely bad. It will pull that current here and again, but really to fix this stove, because it really should have lit already, we would need to replace the igniter. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is apply a little bit of penetrating oil onto these mounting bolts for the igniter. Just because of the heat and constant exposure to heat, a lot of times these won't come off and it's a real drag. So we're just going to put those on there. It'll smell a little bit, but it'll definitely burn right off. This way we're not searching for new bolts, and they'll come out and go on real nice. There we go. So once those are off, we can move our igniter enough to get at the wires. And what we'll do is go ahead and cut those and remove some of the insulation on there. Just enough. Don't, you'll inspect it after you've done that to make sure you haven't cut any of the extra or little strands. Because it needs to pull a certain current, it will make a difference on these. So now we have our brand new igniter. One thing you don't want to do is touch the actual material of this igniter, because as soon as you go to turn on, it's going to pop and break and you'll be all done. And anytime, these are brand new and have been removed, but I always redo them just to make sure we're at the right, about the proper length, or the same length as the other ones. So now with both of those stripped, we'll take our ceramic wire nuts, and on these you just want to put them together. You don't want to wrap them around. This will do that for you, and we'll just tighten that clockwise. And I always get a little extra bend in there for support when you're done, and that way you know that wire nut took real well. Okay, so now we're gonna wire nut the other side of our igniter, and we'll just put these guys together and put our ceramic wire nut on there and go counterclockwise. You can feel it when it sticks, and again I just put the extra little bit in there, and now we can tuck our wires down. We'll clean that up at the bottom down there and make sure that it just looks nice. And then we'll get our igniter into position and reinstall our mounting hardware. And we'll completely tighten those up. There's no need to kill them on there. They're not going anywhere. And certainly between a brand new igniter and that little bit of oil, it's going to smell a little hot to begin with. But now we're going to bake that off right now. And as we start this, we'll notice the increase in the glow of the igniter, and certainly with that we'll see the flame come up. Now, once you replace it and start it, it can take like 2 to 3 minutes for it to actually start, but be patient, it'll happen. So you may already be able to see the difference in the glow. It's much brighter than the other one. And as soon as that draws its current, voila, we have heat. So now we'll just put it back together, and this one will be good. Okay, so we're just gonna put our tray back in. There's a little lip right here that we'll have to engage to begin with. And once that seats, we'll just push our clips back to fully engage in the back. And there we go, that's fully seated. We can put our oven racks back in. And we'll put our door back on. Just line them up with the hinges. Slide that right back on. And since we put a little bit of that penetrating oil on, we are going to run it for a little bit just to make sure that that bakes off and doesn't give off any unpleasant odors when you're actually ready to cook. Otherwise, this repair is complete. Thank you for watching another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.